When I was a beginner in the gym, I thought I was doing everything right. People on YouTube were saying you gotta do 4 by 12, you gotta do this exercise to hit this muscle, you gotta do 10 to 20 weekly sets, you gotta do 4 by 12, 3 by 12, you gotta train to X amount of RPE or whatever. I had so much mental overload because of the advice that they were just giving me, and to the point it was just like this guy would contradict this guy, and then this guy would contradict this guy, to the point where it just made no sense. So I just ended up wasting so much time and effort running in circles to the point where I made almost no gains. So in this video, I'm gonna show you what the number one big mistake that I made and how you can prevent it from happening to yourself so that you can make a whole lot more gains than I did. What was the number one big mistake that I made? Well, I'll tell you a story, right? So when I was 15, a couple years back, I started I embarked on my fitness journey, right? Trying to make it more adventurous than it actually seems. I went on this journey, or I started on this journey to get the aesthetic physique, like many of you are trying to right now. And there was so much conflicting advice online to the point where it just made my head spin, and I got a mental overload. Again, this guy was contradicting this guy was blah blah contradicting this guy. Basically, it's all a mess, and everyone has their own different opinions. But the number one big mistake that I made was training to mild discomfort. Now, if you don't know what that term is, it's basically when you just train like a bitch, you're not putting in effort, right? When you go to the gym, it's supposed to be hard. You're not supposed to have a fun time. But as so many people think, if you're working out with your friends, that's a different story. But if you're in the gym, you're trying to build muscle, it shouldn't be necessarily fun. It should be like a chore. So when I was going to the gym, it didn't feel like a chore to me, or it kind of did at the time. But what I'm trying to say is that going to the gym should feel hard. You should be mentally prepared in your head. For me at that time, I wasn't mentally prepared. I was like, yep, time to go to the gym, do my 4 by 12 on 8 different exercises so that I can get my 10 to 20 weekly sets. I remember having a spreadsheet, it would be an upper lower day or a push pull. I forgot what it was. I remember having one of those days or on a spreadsheet, and it had 8, maybe 7 different exercises with 4 by 12, 3 by 12. Then on the bottom it'd be total sets, and then right beneath that it would be total volume per muscle group. It would be back 12 sets, biceps 10 sets. You can see where I'm going with this, right? And so I was so focused on getting 10 to 20 weekly sets that I just neglected my intensity, and I made subpar gains from that. Well, why is doing 10 to 20 weekly sets of volume bad or not good? Well, necessarily it's not bad, but the problem is it's not optimal, or it's not optimal for building muscle. And if you're watching this video, you're probably a brown skinny fat person who's trying to get jacked, build muscle. You're not gonna do that by building 10 or doing 10 to 20 weekly sets per muscle group. That's not gonna happen. You're gonna build muscle, or the most optimal bro science way that you're gonna build muscle as a skinny fat person is by going to failure and training with grit and going with very high intensity. Well, why is it bad to do 10 to 20 weekly sets of volume per week per muscle group? I'll tell you, it's not that it's inherently bad. It's just that if you're watching this video, you're most likely a skinny fat guy, and you're watching this video because you want to know how to get jacked and build muscle. The first thing I'm gonna tell you is that doing 10 to 20 weekly sets isn't optimal for building muscle or building your dream physique. The best way to build muscle is by progressing the overload, by getting stronger so that you can get bigger. Because as you get stronger and stronger, your muscles will get bigger and bigger. So this is why intensity is such a key factor, or This is why intensity is important for you to like lock in on so that you can build muscle. Not to mention that it's going to be a lot harder tracking progressive overload, because if you're doing 10 to 20 weekly sets of volume per muscle group, it's going to be a lot harder to track progressive overload, because like you're again, it's going to be harder because the data or like the amount, the weight that you're like lifting isn't accurate. So if you're doing the first set 12 reps, then the second set's going to go to like 10 reps, third set, I don't know, you probably get 12 reps again, and then the fourth set you also got 12 reps, or sometimes it's not even that, you get like 10, you get 12, 10, 8, and then 3 reps, right? You could get like those two situations. The first situation is that if you get like all 12 reps through all 3 to 4 sets, you're just training to mild discomfort, or you're just not training hard enough. And so that signals to your muscles that, yeah, no, this is easy. I don't need to get bigger. I don't need to get stronger. I don't need a progressively overload. This shit is easy. Where on the second one, it's hard, but like I might need a little more strength. Like a little push, right? They're not effective ways of building muscle. Whereas if you take like 2 sets to like max failure, doing the 2-set method, go like 100% intensity, your muscles gonna be like, fuck, like, damn, I need more, like, I need to get stronger, I need to get bigger so that I can make this movement a whole lot easier for me, because like, it's not that hard, I'm struggling, I'm struggling to lift that, it's so hard. Like, when you train to 10 to 20 weekly volume sets or whatever, when you do that kind of volume, your muscles don't have a reason to grow. They're just there, they're existing, they don't have a purpose to grow. They have no reason to grow. Whereas if you're training to failure, doing 2 sets to failure to max intensity, your muscles actually have a reason to grow, and you can actually stimulate the muscle growth, because again, that movement is just so hard, and your body wants to make it easier for you. So that why, it recruits more like muscle fibers, heals, so that the next time that you come to do that same weight, it'll feel a lot easier, and that you can do more reps and more weight. So how did I like fix this problem that I had? Well, it was basically just me cutting like my volume by like 50%. Now, if I told you my workout compared to like what I had like right now, like, okay, so before now, like a couple years ago when I was like 15, and I showed you my workout at that time, it would be so different to the workout that I currently do at this at this moment. Right now, I have a pull day, like right after recording. I'm gonna go do a pull day, and I'm probably gonna do like 4 exercises. Back then, I had like 7 or 8. I remember having like 3 different bicep curl variations, because you gotta hit the long head, the medial head, you gotta do all of that, which is practically irrelevant to like building bigger biceps. Like that's just one thing. So how did I fix it? All I did was just cut my volume by like 50 to 60% and increase intensity to 100%. It's literally all I had to do to build like more gains, and not waste my time building. I actually make gains now compared to like last time, like a couple years ago when I was just doing 10 to 20 weekly volume sets. Whereas like now I'm actually like growing, I'm getting bigger, I'm getting stronger. If you want to get jacked in the next 3 months, go click the first link down below in the description right now and hop on a call with me to see how I can help you get jacked in the next 3 months. So how can you start, making gains as fast as possible without wasting so much time in the gym and running in circles, without doing like 10 to 20 weekly sets of volume? And the first way to do is get rid of majority of your isolations and keep around 1 to 3 compound exercises per day. Like if you're doing like a push day, you want to keep your bench press variations, your pushing movements. If you're doing like on a back or pull day, keep your pulling movements. Leg day, like keep your squats. Like, you want to focus primarily on the compound movements, because doing the compound movements will give you like more bang for your buck, if that makes sense, right? And so by doing your compound exercises with like 1 to 2 isolations to failure, you will build more gains. Whereas if you just did 8 different exercises with like 10 to 20 volume weekly sets per muscle group, right? If you're just doing, I don't know, let's say let's like map out like a push day, right? You got your bench press with barbell, then you got your incline dumbbell bench press. So that'd be 2 compound exercises, and then maybe lateral raises and like, I have no idea. Tricep row push downs, right? 4 exercises in total, 2 compounds and 2 isolations. All 4 exercises, you're gonna go to failure. But make sure you're being safe, right? And I don't want you to get injured. So do 2 sets, 2 failure. Basic, like, ideally your failure point must be like around 8 to 15 reps. You want to keep it around 8 to 15 reps. So pick a weight that you can do comfortably with like 8 to 15 reps to get, to failure. So it would be like, you come in for your push day, you do your warm up, you do your stretches, whatever. Then it's your barbell bench press, right? Get on that exercise and you do first set, I don't know, 155 pounds for like 10 reps. That's failure. You rest about 6 minutes because you went to failure. It was a hard exercises. It was a hard exercise, and now you're like mentally like preparing yourself for the next set because you have to do it again, and you want to get to 10 reps so that you can up the weight the next workout. So you do that. For the second set, you get 10 reps. So that means the next workout you want to up the weight to 165. Then you go to your next exercise, which is the dumbbell incline bench press. With that, same method. You pick a weight you can get to 8 to 15 reps to failure, and yeah, you do that the same thing for your isolations. Now, your isolations, you might want to rest a little bit less because it's isolations. You don't need to rest too much compared to your compounds because not that many muscles are moving, and you're not going to be like expending that much energy. So just to recap this video, doing 10 to 20 volume weekly sets, whatever, it's a complete big waste of your time. Just focus on a couple of exercises like the 80-20 rule, 20% to get 80% of the benefits, or 80% of all the rewards, whatever. Do a couple of exercises to failure. You're grinning, you're mentally preparing for the next set. Like, you should be getting a thought like, I don't even want to go, bro. I don't even want to do this. Like, you should hate yourself to a point. Like, bro, I'm just saying, like, a little bit, not so much, right? But again, just be safe, right? Don't do anything stupid. Just, you have to be safe. I am not getting sued over this or whatever, right? So 2 sets to failure to maximize your muscle growth, and because you're going to like max failure, you're gonna get stronger by workout. There's gonna be like a bit of a point where adding 10 pounds to your workouts every week isn't gonna be like feasible, so you're gonna need to change it up from like 10 pounds to maybe 5 pounds, from 5 pounds to maybe 2.5 pounds, because of like diminishing returns. The stronger and stronger you get, the slower it's going to take to get even stronger, because if you could keep adding 10 pounds to your workouts every week, you would become a world champion or you would become like an IFBB pro bodybuilder by then. But that's not how it works, right? But don't do so much volume and max out on intensity is basically what I'm trying to say to you, so that you can get the most benefits for like the time that you spend. Because again, spending so much time in the gym for doing half-assed, mediocre sets to get minimal gains is not something you want to do, which I imagine. So instead, you'd rather just, just do what's necessary to build the most amount of muscle growth, and that is just to train to complete failure. But yeah, honestly, that's the whole video. If you have any questions, you can leave down any comments, or you could go join the Discord community that I have below. It's the second link in the description. But yeah, peace.